Good morning and welcome everybody to Care Connect sessions. Thank you for joining us. If you would love to take your camera off, we would love to see your smiling face. But if you want to stay behind your camera, that's perfectly fine. But once again, thank you for joining us and welcome to today's session. What I want to first do is just start off by, if you're not aware of Care and who we
I'm muted, yes.
with, we have
But I want them to not be muted. Speakers are on.
microphone. Sorry about that. So our care team, we have Myrna Gran, our executive director, who is not on the call with us today. She's actually doing some meetings in Ottawa this week. Jordan Sisawa is our marketing and industry relations manager. Diana Svensson, who is on the call today, is our office administrator coordinator, and myself, Lisa Saragusa. I am the member relations and training manager. Tracy Shelton helps us with communication and our convention. And then Juliana Gran is our CRM operations assistant. You can see there's a list of our board of directors. So if you do have any questions about our association, how you can get involved, we have some committees that we can gladly have some more participation on. Feel free to reach out to any one of us. We can answer your questions and direct you accordingly. If you do want to get a hold of us, here's our contact information. We are on not all, but most social media channels. So feel free to follow us on some of those channels. Engage with us on the social media as well. We do have some important industry information as well as care information on our social media channels. So please feel free to follow us. And if you are on our call and there we go. Sorry, if you are on our call and you are not yet a member, please feel free to click that QR code and become a member of CARE. One more thing before we get into our session, do want to let you know that our Care Connect sessions are happening every Thursday. It's an interactive conversation that we want to have with the attendees on the call. So we're going to have a presentation, half-hour presentation, followed by a half-hour, give or take, question and answer period. If you do want to see a listing of all of our sessions, again, click on that QR code. We have a great lineup from now up until the end of April, which at what point we will take a bit of a break and then we'll come back closer to the fall time. And then next week, our next session is going to be with Stephen Crittenden, not exactly sure how to pronounce that, but he is with AAFC and he's going to be talking to us about the research that he's doing that is critical for our industry. All right, that being said, I do want to introduce today's speaker. We do have Victoria with us today, and Victoria is an HR professional with over 15 years of experience in human resources. Her background includes full cycle recruitment, international hiring and relocation, HR project management, and development of HR policies. Throughout her career, Victoria has partnered with employees to address labor shortages, streamline HR practices, enhance employee retention and engagement, and ensures compliance with employment standards and immigration regulations. As a licensed regulated Canadian immigrant consultant, she offers distinct advantages in guiding employees through the Temporary Foreign Workers Program, LMIA application, not sure what that is, maybe Victoria, you can explain that, and provincial nominee programs. So I'm going to allow Victoria to take it over from here. But as I mentioned, this is an interactive conversation that we do want to have. So during the presentation, if you do have some questions, please type it in the chat. But once we do get to the Q&A portion, you can continue to use the chat to ask your questions, or you can unmute your microphone and ask it live as well. So that being said, welcome again, Victoria, and please take it from here.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you for such a lovely introduction. If you're curious about my accent, since people curious a lot, I was born and grew up in Ukraine, and I moved to Canada close to 11 years now. Met my husband, and I live in Saskatoon, working remotely for CARC. CARC is based in Ottawa, and today I'm actually in Kelowna attending BC Fruit Growers Association convention, so excuse the background. But we're going to talk about HR, and HR is the topic that I can talk for hours. Like, feel free jumping and asking questions as we go along, and I hope we're going to have like a good conversation, and it will give, in the end, it will give you some tips or insights or ideas. What can you do to improve your HR practices? So in my presentation, I'm going to cover CARC, what CARC mandate and what we are doing. I will provide you with an overview of HR Toolkit. This is the resource that CARC developed for the agricultural industry, and like walk you through the navigation, like what can be found, what are resources, what are the type of resources, and I will show you some practical examples on how you can use like an HR toolkit for your business and what kind of HR issues it can help you to solve. And we can have a Q&A in the end. And again, I'm open to questions as I go along as well. Thank you. So about CARC, CARC is a national non-for-profit organization, and we are focused on addressing human resource issues across Canada facing agricultural businesses. We work with primary agriculture, we work with the producers, and we are also working with agribusiness as well. We are led by industry stakeholders, and we have a board of directors representing different commodity groups, different organizations from across Canada. We are also quite known for our agricultural labor market information and LMIA research, especially the focusing of the labor shortages in the industry in Canada. And the last one, this is what I'm responsible for, is to be an access point to customized solutions related to HR management and training. So my mission is to bring and enhance HR practices and tools in the industry. And we do it through the toolkit, through HR consulting, through HR micro-credential training programs, and through webinars, and just sharing the knowledge across the industry. I'm going to ask you some questions as we go along, and you can just answer in chat if you feel like so. The questions are like more for your personal reflection and for understanding where you are right now with your HR practices. So my first question is what is your biggest HR challenge? Is it recruitment and hiring, employee retention and turnover, compliance with HR regulations, training and development, or managing employee performance? So feel free putting a number in chat box, and we will be just taking a look at it. I'll give you a minute. Recruitment and hiring, yes, this is always a big challenge, especially before the start of the season. Number 5, managing employee performance. Yes, we have people, but for some reason they are disengaged. They are not completely doing what they are supposed to do. This is an issue as well. Okay, so we'll focus on this and go along. Before we dive into human resources, this is just a very good definition of human resource management that I use. It doesn't come from a particular author or a particular like manual or book, but it's a good combination. So human resource management, what does it mean? And it is ensuring that organization has the right people with the right skills at the right time and creates the right environment that enables and motivates people to do the right things. To get off my headphones. Are you able to hear me? Yeah, okay. It's just I can hear myself when I'm talking. So, and this is the definition that actually shows what the HR is about. Like, we need to have the right people with the right skills. We need to have people that have right attitude, that have the right experience, that have skills, that have maybe sales experience or knowledge of the product, and we need them at the right time, especially in the industries that have like seasonality. Like we need them in April, we don't need them in November. And we also need to create a right environment that enables and motivates our people to do the right things. And by right environment, we talk about bonus structure, workplace environment, and do the right things. So people will do what they need to do so that the business would reach its goals. So I think that's like great definition that encompasses all the aspects of HR, since especially with like small and medium-sized businesses, HR could be either compliance or admin or organizing Christmas party, doing payroll, but HR, it's actually much more. And if you do it right, if you have the right system in place, you will be amazed with the results, how it can help you to move your business towards your goals. The next one, introducing Agri-HR Toolkit. So the Agri-HR Toolkit, this is an agricultural specific resource. It's a web-based, and it has everything that small and medium-sized businesses in agriculture need for their HR needs. It was developed by HR professionals and industry experts like HR professionals, university colleges, professors, and I am proud to say that we haven't used AI to develop the manuals and templates, which is quite rare today. And you can see it, you can feel it once you read that, as AI can be quite confusing. I have another webinar about it when we talk about using AI to for creating a policy, and it can get you to the completely wrong space, like as an employer, and your intent is to be in compliance, but it will be completely different. But we can talk about it another time. And as I mentioned, that resources are relevant for mostly small businesses, family-owned businesses, but we also have HR professionals and large operations that use the resource as well. Initially, the toolkit was developed in 2017, and in 2023, thanks to the government funding, we've got through the major updates on the technical side and on the content side. Another interesting fact, HR Toolkit is used as a textbook in ag management program in some universities and colleges across Canada. For example, University of Winnipeg, they do use like the toolkit, and the students go through the content as their textbook and like discuss the case studies that we have over there. The toolkit has over 150 templates, guides, and case studies, checklists relevant to federal and provincial government regulations, and links to the website. So it's like all-in-one resource. And we try to update it annually, semi-annually, based on the funding, based on the changes that are happening in the industry. When you get to the toolkit, you will notice that it's more focused to like agriculture, primary agriculture, farming. There are certain resources that are specified for agribusiness, but at the same time, like it's all relevant. And the next step with our Agri-HR Toolkit in the next year or two is actually to develop a specific resource for agribusiness that would be very valuable for CAR members as well. So when you go to the toolkit, and I will be jumping on and off, and in the end I will show you my screen, just kind of do the live demo. But the toolkit covers the main HR topics, and this is recruitment, selection and hiring, workers' performance. We have information on health and safety. We have diversity and inclusion, compensation and benefits, succession planning, HR policies, has like a separate it's a separate topic, like we use it as a separate resource as well. Workplace wellness, foreign workers. So basically, you kind of, depending what you need, you can find like that quite easily. Another thing before I start the live demo. So each topic would have like, this is an example of topic of worker performance. There will be like a short intro video, like what it is about. And there is like a standard menu. And also like when you go about what is in the section, you can also see that there is a navigation, like where you can kind of, do I want to read this, or maybe I want to read this? So like it's easy to choose and pick what you actually would like to focus on. And this is another example of HR topic navigation. So there are resources that are related to certain topic. For example, there is a guide or there is a link. There is something that is absolutely important. You can also switch between the subsections, or like you can look for the links to download the resources as well. Another interesting thing in the toolkit is sometimes I talk to the employers and that I would hear, this is great, but I don't have time to read all this, to watch the video, to navigate. I just need a policy. I need a policy, like workplace harassment policy, because it is required right now for the industry. And in this case, you just go to the resources and you can choose what you want. Like you can choose like action plans, case studies, templates, HR policies are in the templates, or if you're working on your HR plan, you can find like worksheets where you can actually fill in, and it will guide you through the process, and it will help you to organize like your ideas and your thoughts as well. So examples of resources that we have would be like action plans. For example, steps how to welcome and orient new hires. Like we all bring new people, so what we need to do, how to put together an onboarding system, or like how to develop a job description. Like we don't want to use like a job description from the internet. We want something that is unique, how we can make it unique, and how we can make it about our business. There are case studies about the companies that like are quite prominent in their HR practices. There are checklists. I love the checklist, HR practices self-reflection. We will be sharing this as complimentary with everyone. And it has several pages, but it goes through every HR practice and asks you the questions. And here you say, okay, maybe I don't need that, or there's something that I would like to start working at like in the future. And like it give you like good ideas and good insights what you can do with your HR practices. Or bias awareness checklist, like especially when we are hiring for diverse groups. We have a number of guides, interview guides. These are my favorite. I'm going to talk about structural and behavioral interviews a bit later. Resource on managing and training employees, like how to make our workforce stronger. There are also a number of links. All the links are out, like updated. And templates, like again, job description, written warning letter, and the templates, you can download them in Word format, and you can put your company logo, company information, you can like edit it as you need. We also have tools, cost of turnover calculator. This is something I'm going to show you, and we are going to talk about it as well. And again, as I mentioned, like worksheets that will help you with your like thought process while you're working on a certain like HR, for example, HR planning. The resources are easily downloadable. Again, this is just the manual, but like you will receive the copy of this presentation. So you just open it in your browser. And how to register, I will quickly go through, but so the toolkit, you go to the main page, and we have two types of access. There is a standard and partner access. The standard access is $259. Partners, depending on the partnership level with the organization we have, would have a discounted access. And Lisa will be sharing a discount code that will give CARC members 25% discount for the toolkit. And this is the cost of the annual subscription. So this is just how to register. Again, I don't think we will need to focus on that. Basically, you enter your information, like you will receive an email with the account activation link. You activate your account, and after, like, you will need to put your payment information and you access the toolkit. Once you access the toolkit, you can see the dashboard. There is like a main page with like a welcome video, welcome message. And after you go to either HR topics or your resources, or you look for like templates that like we just discussed. So this is an example of dashboard navigation. For example, there are certain items that I go often, so I save them as my items. And so my top 4 toolkit resources. And now we kind of go to the toolkit. So I'm going to provide you an example of the resources that I use and our clients use. And this is cost of turnover calculator. This resource is actually open for everyone. And interview guide, employee handbook, and workforce planning resources. There is a question from Melissa, is a yearly fee per user or per business? It is per business. So like, again, like you register with your email, like we know some businesses would use like generic email and you can access it. So it's we don't count, it doesn't matter. So the first one is a cost of turnover calculator. So turnover, what is turnover? Why do we need to calculate it? And this is important because sometimes we don't think about it. Like we just want to hire this individual because the season is coming. We need to close this position. But after when they're leaving, like, yes, we will just replace him with somebody else and find another individual. But we never kind of think how much it actually costs to business, and we don't consider all the factors into the account. So my question to you is, do you know how much employee turnover is really costing your business? Like you can put a number, like the actual dollar number if you know, or a range, or could put a number that is related to the answer. So we track it and know the real cost. We have a general idea. We haven't calculated yet, and we feel the impact, but don't know the number. So haven't calculated, feel the impact. Okay, so we'll help you to calculate it. So the employee turnover, what it is, and by the turnover, I mean voluntary and involuntary turnover. So voluntary is when the person decides to move on, like to another employer, relocates geographically to another industry, and so on. Involuntary is when there is a termination or when there is a layoff, right? So kind of like for the simplicity, we will calculate both. And usually, like a good business practice to calculate the turnover at least like annually, like, or maybe in the beginning of the season and in the end of the season, depends on your business, depends on your structure. Like start with a base number and just kind of come back to this number, calculate it again. And in order to calculate it, so we just need to have the number of separations. So number of people that like have left or terminated, divided by the average number of employees within a year or within a season, and multiple by 100. And when I was getting ready for this presentation, I was trying to find a research. CARC does have a research about ag industry, but the last numbers were updated in 2022, 2023. And I feel like there is so much things that changed in the labor market that the new research is coming. But like based on like what I found, that average national like turnover is about 10%, but the average turnover in retail and a wholesale industry is 25%. And like there is a research that there are some opinions that it could be even higher. So that's why, especially for like agri-retailers, it is important to track those numbers, to understand those numbers, and decide what you're going to do with them. To the next slide. So again, like why it is important to calculate the turnover. We move people issue to like this is the wrong fit, like this person doesn't know what the person is doing, to the business decisions, why this individual was hired in the first place, or if the individual decided to leave, like what we as a company did wrong. Did we provide all the necessary training? How was the onboarding process? It also gives us an idea of true hiring and training cost. It understands that we need to invest into onboarding, training, and retention. Emphasizes the importance of onboarding again, that it's not only like handshake when the new employee arrives and a tour around the office and here is the coffee machine. It should probably be a bit more, or even like much more. Also leadership development, like are our managers, supervisors, leaders, are they up to speed with what needs to be done? Are they developing their employees? And also identifies like certain risk areas. So in order to calculate it, how it's built, we're going to jump into the actual turnover calculator now. But what we include employee cost, we include separation cost, hiring cost, training cost, and a cost of employee ramp-up time, which means that the cost, how much does it cost for us before this new employee becomes 100% productive and independent. I'm going to click on the link. Are you able to see my screen with the cost of turnover?
So I still see the presentation.
Okay, then I will try to share. Okay. What about now?
That's good. Yes.
Yeah, we're able to see it.
We are. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, I will just maximize it a bit. Okay, so this is free. There is a link how to access it. It's also included in the toolkit, but on our website, the access for this tool is free. So employee cost, and I'm just gonna put some numbers, right? For example, we are hiring someone I don't know, for the wage of annual base 75. I'm just trying to see if I can. Oh, okay, I can see it here. Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna do it 0. So for example, we are hiring someone and we are paying 75,000 to this individual. So annual benefits, 50%, very kind of approximate, monthly salary plus benefits, and daily salary. This is just for us to calculate. Are you able to see my screen, Lisa? Do you want me to make it a little bit larger?
It's okay from my end.
It's okay. Okay.
I got a big monitor though, but it's okay.
Okay, so now we look into separation cost, and that's when things get more interesting. So annual salary of person responsible for hiring. For example, we had an admin assistant that was helping us with hiring. So we will put admin, I don't know, 60,000. Yes, hourly rate will calculate it. Time in hours to proceed, update files, complete exit interviews. I don't know, maybe 10 hours to finish all the paperwork, right? And other separation pay, severance, outstanding holidays. Let's say we didn't pay it, we're not paying it as a business. Now we calculate hiring cost. So annual salary of person responsible for hiring. So the same person that was doing the separation, so 60. And time in hours, screening resumes, conducting interviews. So normally, right now, it's between 40 to 50 days, to hire a new person, right? So time in hours, but this individual that is doing hiring is an admin assistant. So let's say that they were doing it not all the time. So maybe, I don't know, 20 hours, just saying, right? And selection costs, job advertising, background check, and so on. Maybe we had to put paid job advertising to Agri-Careers or another resource, and we paid, say, $550 for that. Okay, training cost. So that's when things are getting even more interesting. Annual salary of person responsible for training. For example, we hired a salesperson, but there is a team lead or a manager, and without the commission, this team lead is making, I don't know, 85,000. Total training hours. Say that maybe first week, more kind of total training, when there was a training in the classroom, there was a training on the product, and maybe that person was following that manager, shadowing the manager. So again, 40 hours. So that's the cost of onboarding and orientation. Cost of employee ramp-up time. This is something that is not calculated, but it should be. So, and this is daily employee cost, so salary and benefits. This is the individual that we hired. And now we see that number of working days before the new employee are fully effective, before they can actually work independently by themselves and be productive. I don't know, but I would say at least 60 days. I would probably put 90 days, but let's put 60. So this is cost of productivity ramp up. So, and if we have it all, So that's the cost of, like, are we able to see it? Yeah. So if we have a separation cost, we have a hiring cost, we have training cost, and we have employee ramp-up time. So now for someone that is being hired for the position of 75,000, like, and leaves, like, I don't know, within like first 3 months, like, we need to add another $15,050 to that. So that's a lot, isn't it? Yeah. I am gonna back to sharing.
It really puts it into perspective how much it costs to hire and have someone leave.
Yeah, that's why that's when we start talking, like, maybe we should be more careful with hiring. Like, yeah, there is like a saying, like in recruitment and HR, you need to hire slowly and terminate fast. So like, make sure that your process is structured, make sure that like you find the right person, you do the right interviews, you do the right check. If you have that gut feeling that, oh, something is wrong, but maybe we should give him a chance, like, I could say that for the most time, you're right. Like, you shouldn't be given that chance.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's one of the tools that we've been using. And now we're moving to, like, since we talked about hiring, another example would be interview guides. Are you able to see my screen, Lisa? Yeah. Okay. So I'll quickly.
Yeah. Right ahead. Yeah, it's all good.
Go through the interview guides. Okay, question again. What's your interviewing style? Tell me about yourself and see where it goes. I have a few go-to questions. I use notes and training scale. I mostly trust my instincts, and interviews, like, we just hire everyone who shows up. So that's more for joke, the last one. But while you're answering, like, just a couple of comments here, tell me about yourself is actually considered a question nowadays, like, not the great HR practice. And I know that we use this question from time to time. I use it too, especially when we do like just a first interview or pre-screening interview, but it kind of puts a candidate in a position that, like, you already seen my resume, what else do you need to know? Or if a candidate starts talking about some of their like personal situations, their hobbies, like, another one might be more reserved and not talk about it. So we kind of have like different information from different candidates, and like, one has like a more disadvantage than another one. So if you still want, most of the time, I would recommend to say, would you walk me through your professional work experience for the past 5 years or for the past 10 years? So we kind of narrow it, and we ask the same question to the same applicants, right? We don't need to know what's their hobbies. Like, we can't even know how many kids they have, like, right? Like, it's their life. So that's why, like, be more narrow. And yeah, so that's kind of an interesting fact. So with the interview guide, there is a link for the interview guides that is available in a toolkit, but the interview guide will give you a so-called structured interview process when, as I said, the same questions are asked at the same time, like to the same different candidates in the same sequence, and everyone has like equal opportunities. Most of the interview guide questions, they are combined with the behavioral and situational interview questions. What it means is that behavioral interview question is a good prediction of whether your employee is going to be successful, because our past behavior usually like predicts our future behavior. So if we are asking about, like, for example, one of our competencies is managing conflict, right? We can't, like, if we can say, can you provide me a situation when you had to deal with a conflict in your team? What happened? What did you do? And what was the outcome? So it kind of gives us like more of a framework for the applicant to answer this question. Yeah, so this is called a STAR technique, and STAR is the way to answer the question, when S is for situation, T is for task, A is for action, and R is for the result. And that's like where we can also do the follow-up or prompt questions to our applicant if for some reason they're not comfortable or their answers are very close. So it helps us to kind of dig deeper, but at the same time, we get the answer to this question. Also, interview guide will give you a clear scoring system. Like we probably use 5 3 have an interview panel. 3 for me might be different than 3 for another manager or my coworker. So what kind of behavior we expect a job applicant needs to demonstrate that like this applicant would actually be rated at 3 or 4 during the interview. And interview panel alignment, again, like probably like after like we've done the first interview, the pre-screening interview, where we're at the final stage, we would have an interview panel. We would have like 2 or 3 people interviewing an applicant at the same time, in the same room or virtually. We agreed with an interview panel who is asking which questions. I know there is always someone who jumps up with the gut question or tell me about yourself. But like the interview guide will be able to kind of lure back what we need to do. And it provides a non-biased process, especially nowadays when we hire like groups. So we'll provide like equal opportunities for the job seekers. And to work with an interview guide takes a bit of time. It does include several pages, but it gives you a clear structure. It gives you like a place to do notes. It gives you like a scoring sheet. So once you've done it once, like you will be able to continue using it. And especially when you interview like 5 people or 10 people, like you don't need to actually try to read your notes on the printed like resume that a lot of people do when they interview. You can actually look at the answers, you can look at your scoring, and you can make the right decision. So this is just like a screenshot of the interview guide, but there is a link where it can be found in the toolkit. Employee handbook, that's another one. So what the best describe your current employee handbook, right? Employee handbook is a set of rules, policies, information about the business that we give to the new hires, or if we have a current like employees, they have a certain question, they can go to the handbook and they can take a look at it. So for somebody, it could be a binder that nobody opened. Like it doesn't need to be binder nowadays, right? It can be more electronic. And maybe it's a few HR policies that we need to have to stay compliant, and this is fine for the small business, or it is a solid handbook that you actually use and update, and for someone it could be like a winter project as well. So that's at least you're thinking about it. So for the most part, it's few HR policies, solid handbook. That's great. So I will just give you like a quick overview of employee handbook and the template. Our template is quite lengthy. It's like more than 80 pages. I wouldn't recommend to have like an 80 pages employee handbook if you are like a small business. I would say like if you are under 10 employees, like 5-10 pages is more than enough. Like, and if you are like 10 to 30, maybe I don't know, 20-30 pages. So you don't need that long. Like, and if there are certain HR policies, you can keep HR policies separate and just have like a summary with the link to the policy if someone wants to read a policy. So right now, like the trend is to actually decrease and compress the employee handbook so people would actually read them like and look at them, because if it's 80 pages, probably like it's quite overwhelming. So when we need an employee handbook, during the operational growth of the company, we were a small business, we had family members working for us, but now we're starting to hire more people. We're starting to hire like people from outside of the family. So we kind of need a set of rules, clear communications and expectations. Like this is like, whom do I call if I'm late today or if I'm sick, right? And like things like that. Employee rights and benefits, employee code of conduct, like new hires onboarding process. Like this is something that new hires need to read. And I would probably recommend some follow-up questions about that. Progressive discipline, legal compliance. If you're hiring temporary foreign workers, there are certain policies that you need to have. And cultural reinforcement, like employee handbook, it doesn't need to be this like dry document. It can actually be fun. It can have your company history. It can have like a greeting from the owner. Depending what you are as a company, like you can make your handbook like quite interesting as well. Or maybe like if it can be just a set of rules if this is something that works for you too. Another interesting like template or action plan, like it's in the toolkit, is how to introduce an employee handbook action plan. So like to have a handbook, that's great. Like we did it ourselves or we used a consultant, but like we don't want the handbook to be like collecting dust on the shelf. So like this action plan, for example, will provide you like step-by-step process, what you need to do, like when to like connect with your employees, how to have a conversation with your employees about handbook, how often do you need to update, and so on. So it's a good complementary resource to the employee handbook template. Workforce planning, this is the last one. So when you hear workforce planning, what comes to mind? And headcount, talent development and succession planning, and something I should do but haven't done yet. Okay, so we have talent development, succession planning, focusing, and headcount. Yes, especially like in the industries that have like some seasonality or succession planning, like with the they're not called old workers, wise workers right now, like getting close to the retirement. We kind of need to figure out who is going to take those places, when do we need to start training, when are they retiring, and so on. And we have like great resources. Again, this is an example of workforce planning when there is like an actual like spreadsheet, like when there is like a worksheet that you can go through, like that helps you to like get your workforce planning in order, or actually like at least like start thinking about it. And this is this complementary resource that we will be sharing with everyone. It's just like a Word document, like feel free like changing it. HR practices self-reflection. So for every like HR topic, like HR policies, recruitment, selection, and hiring, benefits and compensation, it will give you like a set of questions. Do you have this? Do you do this? Like that, like you can like self-reflect and see like, oh, I don't have it. Maybe you don't even need it, or maybe you can put in your work plan when you can start working on that. And this is my last slide on toolkit tips. So if you decide to purchase toolkit, if you start working with the toolkit, my recommendation is to give yourself some time to like getting familiar with the topics and all the content. And even if you don't like, even if you start tackling your HR by yourself, like it can be overwhelming. So try to kind of focus on one thing, like, right? Try to kind of tackle those like big rocks, or like give yourself like a 90 days like focus on like recruitment and selection, or after like retention, and another one could be like benefits. So depending like where your needs are. And like all like navigation, use navigation. You can like put the questions and use those templates that complement each other. As I mentioned, like employee handbook is great, but maybe it's also good to go and see what are the steps to actually implement the handbook. And save the resources that you like, so you can add it to my items. I hope like that's all. Lisa, would you like me to do a quick demonstration like online?
Yeah, or if there's any questions, I know there's been a lot of interaction in the chat here. So if anybody have any questions, or where would the people who are on the call like to see, or what other things that you like Victoria to do? Because there's a lot of information, very in depth. I love it.
Well, thank you. I'll do like a very quick demo, and after we can go to the questions. Yeah.
Perfect.
So I'll just stop sharing. Okay, so this is how it looks. This is the landing page. So the landing page is like quite basic, so you can look through what is available. When you access, like if you're using the discount code, you need to use like a partner access. I'm gonna to like log in, like since like I already have a username. And so this is an example of a dashboard that was in a screenshot, and HR topics. Just do it a little bit bigger. And yeah, we can like, just as an example, like HR topics, recruitment, workforce planning. That was my last slide, right? We were talking. So there's this video you can look at. And after like what is in this section, like how to do HR planning, workforce analysis. So it kind of gives you like step-by-step information. And if you want a resource, again, as an example, HR practices self-reflection. So I just click on the checklist, I click download, and it just opens up as a Word document, like as you can see. And here, like you can see, like HR policies, like we have this policy, we have policy that cover like conflict resolution or recruitment, selection, hiring. So it kind of gives you all the templates are editable, so you can like add your logo and so on. Another thing that is quite useful, like for example, like recruitment, selection, and hiring. This is the topic that this is in my items already, so it's all in my items.
Okay.
So if I want to add something, I will just click here and add it to my items, and this is like resources. And we can also like categorize by HR topics, or like, for example, HR plan.
Okay.
Like, and like we can kind of like, we don't need to go through the topics, like it's here available like very, very quick and very easily. So I hope it gave you a good understanding of what the toolkit is about. Again, if you would like to use it, please contact Lisa, and like she will be able to provide, or contact Car, and they will provide you with the discount code. If you find any questions like that are not covered or anything, like let us know. As I mentioned, like we will be working with Car to kind of developing more customized resources for the agribusiness, and like we would like to hear from you what you want. Like, let us know.
Yeah, and again, I'm going to reiterate that I think that toolkit is actually quite in depth, which is great, because HR, where do we start? What should we focus on? And then I would assume that reflection that I'll be sending out to everybody is kind of, would you suspect would be a great place to start, because you can reflect on what does my HR department currently have, and maybe where there's some gaps, and that might then, once you do that reflection, can then go into the toolkit and then fill in the gaps, for lack of a better word.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
There's a question that Megan has asked, and the question there was, what do you find is the best way to organize policies and keep track of updating them?
That's a good question. I guess it depends on the size of your business, and it depends on what works for you, what works for your employees, right? Like nowadays, a lot is done on shared drives, on Google Drives, Dropbox. Like this is one thing to do. Like I have businesses that use, for example, a Google Classroom, and when the employee just starts, they provide them with a QR code, and here like is all your onboarding, and here's the handbook, here is this policy, here is an acknowledgement that you read the policy. So that's one thing. There are some businesses that still like old school, and it works for them, having the binder, right? Like the binder is available in the reception area. Everyone can come and look at it. In terms of keeping track of updating them, it is recommended to like look through the policies every year, like kind of just like it's a long time. So like it will and like even like if something happens during the year, if there is a change in the regulations, like usually they would give you some like time, like 30, 60, 90 days for heads up, but every year it's a good practice.
Okay. And then would you suggest, because I would think within that policy book that there's probably a variety of different policies, kind of staggering it, like maybe early on in the year you do part of it, and then the second half of the year you do something else, so that you're not updating everything at once. You're only perhaps reviewing part of the policy book, and then at the end of the year review the other, or maybe quarterly, just kind of putting it into chunks.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, like again, some do like that. Like I know like HR professionals that just like our year end is March 31st, so we want to review every single. So it depends. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. There were some other questions that came in during the registration process, and one of the ones that was asked is, do you have any suggestions on how to handle breathalyzer use in the office? A platform used to organize and update HR policy. So I guess, yeah. So
Looks like there are two questions in one. Like that's how.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So yeah, so let's maybe address the suggestions on how to handle breathalyzer use in the office.
Well, in the office, like you need to be quite careful with that because, like, if you were in the environment like where health and safety could be a concern, then yes, like you could have a policies and the employees could agree on the policies of using a breathalyzer. But if it's an office environment, then you need to have like a good reason to do that, like, and if you are like, you need to be quite careful because like you might be getting yourself like with the like trouble with the human rights code. As an example, like if you, for example, after the lunch employee came back and like under the influence of alcohol, right? Like first probably what you would do is to have a conversation and simply go home, document it, and if it happens like 3-4 times and the employee is saying no, like declining it, then like you could consider again, like under the certain conditions. But at the same time with like the situation like that, like using alcoholism is considered like disability under human rights code. So if the employee like informs you about the disability, you actually need to provide accommodations and resources to like help them. So it is like very, very careful like thing. You need to be very careful with that.
And I would also suspect that, like, as you also mentioned at the beginning, that health and I'm going to use the word safety, that if somebody's operating a piece of equipment, I don't want to say the leniency is different,
yes,
but
yes,
there is some differences between whether you're sitting at sitting at your desk versus actually operating something. Perfect. And then so the platform to use to organize and update HR policy. I think you kind of addressed that with Megan's question, that you could use a Google Classroom, you can use a Microsoft SharePoint. I think answers that.
Also, like if you have any like a lot of like HRS that have like do your payroll would kind of have some basics like to organize employee files, so to organize employee policies. That's another option. If you want to go like more, like the good like starting one would be Bamboo HR. That's like a good HR system, like, and they provide you with a great support for like, again, like how to upload the document, how to build an onboarding system. So it depends. I would say that first you need to make sure that like on paper or in your folders, it's all organized, you know, the workflow, you know how to do it. And only after maybe try to transition it into like another software system, because otherwise you will be just moving the problem from one space to another.
Fair enough. Nope, that's absolutely fair. Another question that came in during the registration process is how to create, and I'm just going to read it verbatim as the person had worded it, is how do you create real hunger for succession in sales by the entire team, was the question.
That's a great question. Yes. It made me think like when I read it. So I'm going to base my answer on like a limited context that I have, right? Like, is it like the whole team that like is not performing and doesn't have that hunger, or like certain like employees? So basically, if it's the whole team, I would first look at the like compensation, right? Like how the salespeople are compensated. Like, do they have that like carrot in their commission? Like, is it achievable or they just give up? The other one, like usually if the whole team is underperforming, like there might be a system, as I mentioned, or like a leadership, right? Is there team lead? Is there manager? Does he have the energy like to do that? Like, does he have capacity and ability to provide the training for the employees? So kind of go a bit deeper. And if I were to tackle this, like I would probably first like have like one-on-ones with all the salespeople and just like try to answer like, okay, like we are underperforming. What can I do to help you, right? Like, don't ask like why we are not performing, because usually like salesperson that doesn't want to sell will tell you a million reasons why they can't sell this product, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
And I think it's a great point that, it could be a specific isolated to a specific individual, or it could be the dynamics of the team, whether there's conflict within the team itself,
yeah.
or again, is there no carrot? Like what motivates that individual? And we could look at it from that point, or look at it from the other side of the table is who's leading those individuals. So yeah, I can appreciate that there's a potential an abundance of factors that need to be looked at to answer this question, but a critical one, because if there's underperformance, let's peel the onion back, so to speak, and figure out from what end of the table, is it isolated or is it a bigger picture? So I can appreciate that. I'm going to ask again if there's any other questions from anybody in the audience. By all means, please unmute your microphone to ask your question, or if you're too shy to do that, please feel free to ask your question in the chat as well. But again, I'm going to reiterate, there's an abundance. I haven't had the opportunity to review the entire toolkit, but just from what I saw today, there's an abundance of information in there that at your fingertips, making it convenient. And I think that's what we find. If we have a task or a chore in front of us in our workplace, if that information is not at our fingertips, we kind of feel at loss, or where do we start? So this resource is great to have everything that we potentially need in one place. So it makes it convenient. And again, with the 25% discount that we're able to offer to our care members, it just makes it that much more. The return on investment for that just seems a lot more valuable as well. So I've not seen any other questions. We are almost at our hour, so we got what we need in within this hour. But any other final parting words that you might have for the people who are either currently on this call, or for those who might be watching this recording a little bit later? Anything else that you want to put upon us before we leave?
I would say, like with like HR, it can be overwhelming. You don't know where to start. But I heard like one quote that the road to success is always under construction. So just try to do things. You will make mistakes, learn from your mistakes, and like keep doing. And even if you start with something small, it will be like one last things off your list. So like small steps, and you will get there, and you will be amazed like when you are there, like in a year or two.
That's right. Don't take on too much at once, but yeah, just take that first step, and that can apply to so many. Well, wonderful. So again, I don't see any other questions that have been typed in, and nothing else. So again, I appreciate your time, Victoria. Again, to those who have registered, I will be doing a follow-up email with a recording, so please feel free to read this recording or share it with others who might be interested in this. And if you do want to take advantage of that 25% discount code, please call us in the office, reach out to any of the staff members. We will provide you with that code, and then you can get going on your own HR journey for your team. So again, thank you, Victoria, and thank you for everybody for joining us, and have a good rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.